Hi, I'm Mark, and I like to talk about UK politics and, yes, still Brexit from an outside view. Although I do know the UK from the inside as well, so don't worry. But the British Conservatives are in a doomsday mood at the moment. A week after their defeat, the party no longer knows where it stands. After the biggest loss in the party's history, the British Conservatives are wrangling for their future and are faced with the decision of moving further to the right or returning to the centre. The British Conservatives indeed suffered an unprecedented defeat under the leadership of Rishi Sunak, plunging the party into its worst crisis in decades. With more than a decade in power and a rapid succession of prime ministers, the party faces an ideological dilemma. Should the path lead further to the right to secure the hardliners' base, or is a return to the political centre the solution for renewal? The dynamics within the Tory party have become significantly more acute due to the influence of Brexit hardliners and the populist tendencies fueled by figures such as Nigel Farage. The Reform Party split and its successors suggest that part of the Conservative electorate wants an even harder line. This is a division the party must now confront. And Brexit, once celebrated as a Conservative triumph, has become an albatross around the party's neck. The growing unpopularity of Brexit among voters and the economic difficulties it has brought have put the Tories in a precarious position from which they must now find a way out. After the resignation of Rishi Sunak, the leadership of the Tories is uncertain. The party must elect a new leader by the autumn, and members are expected to potentially vote for a candidate close to hardliners such as Farage, and this could push the party even further to the right. The years under the Tories after Brexit have done serious damage to the British economy, and now the new Labour government is facing a major challenge as well, so not only the Tories. The new British government is stepping up its plans to unleash growth forces. "We have no time to lose," said Chancellor of the Exchequer Rachel Reeves on Monday. As part of a new, what she calls, national mission to promote economic growth, work has already begun to remove blockages in infrastructure projects and private investment. On Saturday, a week ago, less than 48 hours after Labour's election victory, the new Foreign Minister David Lammy visited Germany as the first country after his appointment. And in an interview with the Reuters news agency, he said that Britain wanted a new start in relations with Europe. The Labour Party won the new elections by a large margin against the previously governing Conservatives, which are now in trouble, and is now back in power for the first time in 14 years. "We know that we cannot turn things around overnight. We are facing a difficult legacy," said Reeves, who previously worked as an economist at the Bank of England, among others. But the first steps are now being taken, according to the government. Labour wants to address the long-standing shortage of new housing as well. In addition, planning approvals for infrastructure projects and further wind farms should be accelerated. Reeves also addressed investors who had turned away from Britain after the Brexit vote in 2016, which triggered years of political turmoil. "In an uncertain world, Britain is a place where you can do business," said the finance minister. The new government, led by Prime Minister Sir Keir Starmer, is faced with the task of stimulating growth in order to finance higher spending on public services. However, during the election campaign, it promised not to raise the most important taxes for the population. According to observers, Labour's room for manoeuvre is limited by this. The standard of living in the country has stagnated since 2010, and national debt is comparatively high at almost 100% of economic output. The economy will probably only grow by less than 1% in 2024. And the new Foreign Minister Lammy told Reuters during his visit to Berlin that they wanted to put the Brexit years behind them. A security pact between the United Kingdom and the EU should also contribute to this. And this could include issues such as defense, energy, and climate. Lemmy also announced a review of how trade relations between the UK and the EU could be improved. However, Labour does not want to return to the EU. We will not rejoin the single market or the customs union, but there is a lot we can do together, he says. And according to the German government, Prime Minister Starmer will also be visiting Germany in the summer. The economic situation in Great Britain is indeed serious, and now the new Labour Chancellor of the Exchequer, Rachel Reeves, has also spoken out about the difficult state finances. A package of immediate measures is intended to provide initial relief, and two areas are here in the focus. But it's even bleaker than expected. This is how Britain's new Chancellor of the Exchequer, Rachel Reeves, describes the state of the country's public finances. Even in the run-up to the general election, which the Labour Party clearly won, the former Bank of England economist had repeatedly warned of the seriousness of the situation. The next government would be faced with the most difficult fiscal and economic situation since the Second World War. What I've seen in the past 72 hours has more than confirmed this, she said. Our economy has been held back by decisions that have been delayed and not taken. That is what Reeves said in her first speech in her new position. We are facing the legacy of 14 years of chaos and economic irresponsibility, she said. And the new Labour government under Prime Minister Keir Starmer has set itself a target of 2.5% economic growth per year. Since the pandemic, Great Britain has been one of the laggards in this respect, with only Germany lagging further behind among the G7 countries. And for the current year, economists are only expecting growth of less than 1%, as I said. And the whole environment is complicated. The standard of living has not moved since 2010. National debt is almost 100% of economic output, and the tax burden is at its highest level in 75 years. And low public investment is reflected in the dilapidated infrastructure as well as in the state health service, which is also groaning under an aging, overweight society. There is no time to lose now, said Reeves. A package of immediate measures is intended, as I said, to provide initial relief. And on the weekend after the election, the minister also instructed officials in the Ministry of Finance to prepare a report on the spending situation in order to get an accurate picture. The analysis is to be published before the summer break at the end of the month. It will also form the basis for what they call difficult decisions in the next budget, which is due in the autumn. And the Conservatives, who were elected into opposition after 14 years in government, warned directly that the new government would use the stock taking as an opportunity to raise taxes. The fiscal situation is well known, after all, as the Independent Office for Budget Responsibility publishes regular overviews. In its election manifesto, Labour had stated that it would not increase the tax burden on the working population. The government has no secret tax plans, was at least stressed by Darren Jones, the Secretary of State in the Ministry of Finance. The focus of the announced measures is on housing construction and the country's planning system. It's time to let Britain build again, according to Reeves. She promised 1.5 million new homes for the 5-year legislative period. And as I did with the Tory governments before, I will hold them accountable for their promises. And if you want to know more, the next video is right here in the end screen. I'll see you there. I'll be back.